Finally getting around to the 1K Q&A. Again, I want to thank all of you guys for helping me get to this point, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to let this channel reach higher heights. But with that, let's just get right into the questions. The most common question I was asked was about my thoughts on Volume 7. Now, I am planning on doing a separate video specifically for what I expect to happen in Volume 7, but basically what I expect to happen is, of course, the Battle of Atlas, or at least the beginnings of it. I kind of think that with the way that Volume 6 ended off, with Salem raising her army of flying gorillas, that I think she might actually lead the charge herself, bringing herself out into the open, making it public that the Grimm have a master. And, well, that's going to throw all of the kingdoms into a little bit of chaos, even more so than it already has been from the fall of Beacon. Now, this will, of course, make Ironwood put out a rallying cry for all of the kingdoms of Remnant to band together to fight against this great evil, but that will also raise the idea of Salem saying that, you know, the Grimm have been ravaging the kingdoms for a long time. Well, just join me and you can be spared type thing. Although I don't think she will actually spare anyone, this is going to lead to a lot more conflict and is going to lead to some interesting things. Not to mention, I expect to have a lot more of Weiss's development in the next volume, as we're going to see her home country. And with her being a bit of a celebrity, being part of the Schneedust Company, as well as being a singer, and being in the public eye, people are going to recognize her. Unless she's disguised for some reason, but that is going to come off at some point, and she's going to be recognized. I want to see the interaction of the rest of the team with the Schnee family, how everyone reacts to Jacques Schnee, which I have some ideas on that, and someone had requested a theory of video on how the team is going to meet Jacques and how they're going to react, and I do plan on doing a video on that, as well as the other suggestions that have been made for different video ideas. I plan on doing most of them in the coming months. They won't be immediate, as, you know, school, everything is going to have to take place as well, but I do plan on doing those as well as other things. So I still have a few more things that I do expect to see for Volume 7, and another question that was asked is there a character that I would like to see in Volume 7? And yes, that is an easy question to answer, because I want to see Weiss's mother. She still exists, she's not passed on or anything like that, but she's not in the greatest mental health due to Jacques Schnee, and I am really interested to see Weiss interact with her. Maybe Weiss has been separated from her. We don't exactly know, I don't think, at this point, and we haven't seen her. So when Weiss was in Atlas, it seemed like she mostly had contact with her father, and her mother wasn't really around her. I would like to see her mother introduced, get away from her father, and see some actually loving parenting given to Weiss, because we haven't seen that, and with all the love that Weiss has in the fandom, it would be very nice to see her get some comfort from a parental figure. How long do I think RWBY will run before it reaches its conclusion? I'm going to say 12 to 14 volumes. I believe it's already been stated that it was supposed to be 11 to 12 volumes, but I'm not going to be surprised if they stretch it to 14, which would mean we're probably at about the halfway point, but that also means that we have another 6 years to 8 years of RWBY to go. I'm going to say it's at the very least 12 volumes, but we'll have to wait and see if there's an official announcement from Rooster Teeth and how much extra story they want to put in, because we've only seen 2 of the continents so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3 more volumes for Atlas, then 3 more volumes for Vacuo, and then maybe 2 extra ones going to the Dark Continent and the overall battle that's encompassing all of the continents. That's the way I would see it playing out, at least, but they might put in or cut out certain ones if they only want to put in 2 volumes for Vacuo or 2 for Atlas for whatever reason, though since Vacuo is completely unexplored as well as Atlas, I think they deserve 3 volumes each, but we'll end up seeing how Rooster Teeth ends up playing it. And if there are any fights that I would like to see in the RWBY series. Now, unfortunately, the one fight that I really wanted to see the most is no longer possible now that Adam Tauros has been taken out of the story. because the fight that I really wanted to see was Adam Tauros versus Raven Bronwyn. I think that would have been an amazing fight, especially if we still had Monty Oum around, because his animation style for the fights that we saw in volumes 1 and 2 were fantastic. And even with the fight that we saw between Cinder and Raven at the end of volume 5, if we saw something even slightly similar between Adam and Raven, two very proficient sword users with very different fighting styles, as well as Adam's semblance in the mix with Raven's maiden powers, that would have been an incredible fight. As for a fight that I'd currently like to see that is currently possible in the RWBY series, I'd actually like to see a fight reach its conclusion between Mercury and Yang if they were actually to go at it and fight to a definite conclusion rather than, you know, Mercury kind of copping out and getting his leg hit, that type of thing, because that fight wasn't reached its conclusion. Mercury definitely faked the entire thing, and I wouldn't call it a win for Yang. So that's a fight I'd like to see at this point, and of course many others, but with only so much time, we shall have to move on. Do I think that running into an Arc Sister is going to be a running joke of the RWBY series? Honestly, that would be incredible to see, as it would give new insight into Jean's character every time we ran into one of these sisters. And whether they'd play a major part in each volume, I kind of doubt, not as much as Saffron did in this one, helping them actually escape Argus. But considering Saffron was in Mistral, Jean went all the way over to Beacon, I wouldn't be surprised if his family members were scattered across. It looked like in Jean's family picture that we saw in Volume 6 that, you know, one sister was stereotypically wearing glasses, clutching a book, so she could be an Atlesian scientist. And some of the more rambunctious ones could have gone over to Vacuo, the lawless country. So I could definitely see us running into one or two of the sisters on different volumes, but I don't think it's going to be like every single volume, although it will be a running joke, I am pretty sure, although we might get like 3 at once, or when we meet Jean's overall family, we'll get a majority of them there. Still do think it would be an interesting running joke for the series to actually put on, and I do hope it happens, as, you know, it would give us more in Jean's character. And speaking of Jean, he is also the character that I find most relatable in the RWBY series. Coming from nothing and working his way up to the point at where he is in the story, and eventually where he's going to be as a hero, which, you know, he's going to follow in the footsteps of his grandfather, having the same sword that he did. He was a hero in the war in the past, and Jean is following in his footsteps to going to become a hero. That's the path that's being laid out for him as the series has progressed, and I believe that's where it's going to be headed. Now, I've watched a lot of shonen anime, and seeing people go from zero to hero in various different anime, it's always been something that I've been a fan of, so I definitely am a fan of Jean. But I also can relate to that, as I was born out in the country, didn't really come from a family that went all the way through university, things like that, and I worked my way up going through university, so I can definitely relate to that at some point. Though I didn't forge my transcripts, I can't really relate to that part of it, but I definitely can relate to Jean going from someone that not much was expected of to being someone who can achieve something on his own. So yeah, he's definitely one I can relate to. Favorite episode of RWBY and why? That is a difficult question, because I don't actually have a specific episode that I'm a fan of, though if I had to pick a volume, it'd probably be Volume 3, simply because of the one-on-one fights and seeing people being able to display their abilities in one-on-one battles. And in particular, I liked the battle between Mercury and Pyrrha, yet another battle that I would have loved to see go to its conclusion and would have liked to see onward in the RWBY series, but unfortunately Pyrrha is no longer with us, may she rest in peace. But Mercury, first and foremost, is a character that I want to see his full capabilities, because I don't think we've seen them yet. But if I had to pick an episode, if I had to pick one, I think it would be the finale of Volume 2, because we got to see the Team Coffee in their actual fighting. Although we didn't get to see Coco, until, or not Coco, Velvet until Volume 3 when she activated her camera on Hard Light Dust, being able to imitate all the different fighting styles and weapons. But we saw Yatsuhashi and Coco and Fox in the finale of Volume 2, and seeing everyone just cooperate together was really, really nice. Plus, also at the end of it, we saw the reveal of Raven as she told Yang we need to talk. So that was also a good introduction of Raven as well. Plus, Raven is also my favorite character aesthetically because the way she's drawn, the way that she fights is absolutely incredible, and I love everything about Raven. I really want to see more of her. Although that may not be for a couple volumes unless she portals to Yang for whatever reason. But we'll have to wait and see. What do I think of the manga anthologies in terms of art and story? Honestly, I love the manga anthologies. They are really refreshing in terms of their art style. Seeing the characters drawn in a manga-style format is really nice to see. In terms of story, it doesn't actually, like, progress the story forward, but it does expand on the days back at Beacon. Little side stories that we didn't initially think of or that have taken place off screen. I believe the manga anthologies are described as canon until they're not. So they are canon until the actual RWBY series itself counteracts them, or contradicts them, I should say. And so most of the manga anthologies can be considered canon at this point, and a lot of the cute side stories in there just go to, you know, they are, you know, fanning the ships and things like that, but they're really, really cute. I honestly love them, and I do plan on doing videos on them in the future as well. Again, once time allows. Are there any theories that I have that didn't make it to video length? As of yet, there aren't, though there have been theory videos that I have wanted to make that time didn't allow before the next episode aired and kind of nullified the point of making them. For example, I wanted to make an extra relic video after Jin was revealed, but once it went into the backstory of Salem and everything, that kind of contradicted or nullified some of the things I was going to say, as it confirmed them or denied them, etc. And there were other ones that I wanted to make for Genlock, like on the Nemesis, things like that, but I was a little bit delayed with the Genlock reviews, things of that sort. So there haven't been any that haven't made it to video length yet. Even if there's a theory that I have that's going to be just quick, I'll still put out like a 2-3 minute video, although it seems I can ramble about various theories for at least 10, 15, 20 minutes, no matter what it is. So we'll see how it progresses in the future. As of yet, there aren't any though. And as for will I be willing to do any Zelda content? Yes, I definitely would love to. It's mostly going to be probably gameplay videos as I do plan to start doing gameplay of different video games. Speaking of which, people have asked what video games I've played growing up, what are the ones that I've played most, etc. And those can be fit into 3 categories for the most part. Legend of Zelda. I own every single Legend of Zelda game ever released, at least in one version or another. I don't own like every version of every game, but I do own at least one version of every Legend of Zelda game ever released, though 1 or 2 of them I have yet to play as time just hasn't allowed. The next is the Fire Emblem series, something that I am really a fan of, and both of which I do plan on doing playthroughs on, you know, this channel. I'm really looking forward to the Fire Emblem 3 Houses that's going to be coming out July, I believe, or is it the end of June? One or the other. And my favorite, of course, is Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones. Now, for Legend of Zelda, my favorite is probably either the Wind Waker or the Minish Cap. Minish Cap being one for the Game Boy Advance that's not as well known, but I love that series, or love that game to death. It's one of the ones that I've almost completed to 100%. It's just one little heart piece that's annoying the crap out of me that I just haven't gotten yet. And the third series that I always played as a kid was Pokemon. Again, I've played every generation of Pokemon and have kept up with it throughout the years, and is one that I definitely plan to do on the channel as well, doing Nuzlocks and trying to involve you guys in the playthroughs as well. But there is one game series that stands above all 3 that I have loved the most and have continued to love, and no game has come to that point in my heart. Golden Sun. it's one that not many people have heard of. It's a game series that has 3 games in it, the third game of which I believe was just, it felt a lot more like a money grab to me, but the first 2 games for the Game Boy Advance were released, I believe, 2004, 2006, somewhere around there. They are absolutely incredible games. The world that they built in those games, based on alchemy, based on magic. If you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, it focuses on the 4 elements, earth, water, wind, and fire, is just an incredible, incredible game. And I am planning on having that being the first game that I play on this channel. I'm still debating whether to do live stream version of it or just put out actual Let's Plays where I'd be able to go through the actual story of the game and cut out, you know, all the different travel times, all the different tedious battles that are in there. I mean, they're not tedious for me, the player, but for you as watching them, they might be. So let me know down in the comments below if you'd want every game I play to be live streamed, because, you know, I'd be happy to interact with all you guys as well while playing them, things like that. Or if you'd prefer more Let's Play styles for a couple of them, and then other ones that are more interactive for you guys as live streams, you know, let me know down in the comments below. I want to do what you guys would like to see. And another thing that made the first 2 Golden Sun games absolutely incredible was that they led into each other. You play the first Golden Sun game, once you complete it, that is only half of the story. You then transfer your data into the second Golden Sun game. The characters that you played through in the first one will come back in the second one, and you get to play through with them, as well as other characters that you build on, and it's all one continuous storyline. It's something that I really didn't see at all in that era, and it's something that connected with me so much. The story was incredible, the world was amazing, the gameplay was fantastic, and it was just an all-around amazing game. Favorite Disney princess? Probably gonna have to go with either Mulan or actually probably Elsa. I've never seen the Frozen movie at all, but the fact that Elsa can use magic, ice powers is also a plus. I cosplay Great Fullbuster, so there's that relation there. But she can stand on the battlefield on her own right, as well as doesn't mind being rescued, things like that. But the fact that she can stand on her own in a battle really says a lot. A lot of the Disney princesses are written in a way that they are reliant on someone rescuing them and can't really stand on their own. I know there are different iterations of Snow White and all of these others that fight on their own, but Elsa can really stand on her own power and has had to go through a lot, at least from what I've heard. Should probably watch that movie. But speaking of movies, the underrated anime movies. There are quite a few anime movies that I have seen, but first I'll recommend some that if you haven't heard of, I definitely recommend watching. Summer Wars, The Boy and the Beast, Redline, and Wolf Children. Any of these 4, if you haven't seen them, they are pretty critically acclaimed, pretty popular, but if you haven't seen or heard of them, I highly recommend them. They are all very good. If they are your style of movie for watching, by all means, check them out. I mean, maybe I should start doing reviews on other anime eventually as well, once time allows. But as for one that's not really well known or underrated, I'd probably have to go with Origin. It's not a movie that I don't know if everyone would actually like. It's one that is just a one-off type thing, follows a young boy who ends up becoming pretty much superhuman, fighting against one of the major powers of the world. And it is in a world that's set where the forest has pretty much come alive. Civilization, at least the modern civilization, has kind of collapsed for most people. And it's an interesting story. Check it out, watch a trailer of it if you want to, and yeah, it's the one I'd recommend for an underrated anime movie. Have I watched Naruto? Yes, in its entirety. All of the original Naruto, including its filler, and all of Shippuden, including its filler. All 500 episodes. Boruto? No. Because that is a standalone series. They honestly ruined Naruto, and if anyone is interested in me giving a video as to why it ruined Naruto, and I'm speaking Naruto the character, not Naruto the anime, I will gladly do so, because there are some issues I have with Boruto. As a standalone series, it's fine. But in relation to the Naruto series, it falls way short, in my honest opinion. But yes, the Naruto series is one that I definitely have followed and is absolutely incredible. As for favorite character, probably Hinata. I had a huge crush on her when I was a kid, and that kind of continued as she grew up as well as I grew up. So yeah, although I've really been a fan of Shikamaru for his aesthetic, the way that he goes about things. You know, I'm a bit of a lazy person, procrastinator in my life as well, but the fact that he was also brilliant, and when he needs to be, he can achieve a hell of a lot, that really is amazing. So yeah, Shikamaru, Hinata, probably my favorite characters. And just in case this video wasn't long enough for you guys, the last question: can we see the anime posters behind me? What anime manga are they from? And the big one is, what other anime other than Rooster Teeth series am I interested in? So let's take a look at some of these, first going over the posters and everything behind me. So first is the one that's probably been hidden the most when I've been talking, is this one from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Depicts Link, Zelda, and Girahim, one of the main antagonists of the series, as well as in the corner there, Fi, which is the incarnation of the actual Master Sword in this game. Honestly, a really good Legend of Zelda game that a lot of people aren't a fan of, but I really, really enjoyed. Then down here we have Arturia Pendragon from the Fate series, the main character of both Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. Zoro from One Piece, another couple characters from the Fate series as well. There's Merlin here, as well as Joan of Arc Alter. It's actually the evil version of Joan of Arc. The Hylian Shield from The Legend of Zelda. This is probably my favorite best girl of any series ever. My number one waifu, Jibril from No Game No Life. Amazing character. I just absolutely love her. If you haven't seen No Game No Life, definitely watch it. This is just an original creation from the same artist. No anime that it's based off of from, but you know, it's still a very nice piece of artwork that I just decided to own. These are the different evolutions of Eevee from the Pokemon series in their humanized forms, with Eevee in the middle, with Umbreon, Espeon, then Vaporeon, Flareon, Sylveon at the top there. Then we have Glaceon, Leafeon, and Jolteon, all in their humanized forms with different personalities. If you guys have not seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, this is Avatar Aang, a 10-year-old that is probably the most powerful 10-year-old in, well, almost any anime, except maybe Mob Psycho, but I think Aang could even give him a run for his money. Then we also have something that I'm guessing you guys have not seen on camera. This is Ishizu from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, with the 3 Egyptian god cards there at the side. The original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series is something that I'm really, really a fan of. It's something that was in my childhood. I collect the cards. Speaking of which, I have card collections of Yu-Gi-Oh! That probably span 20,000 cards, Magic the Gathering, Force of Will as well, that have thousands of cards each. So if you guys have any interest in seeing a video going through those collections, you know, let me know, because I could definitely do that. Some other ones that you probably haven't seen on camera, I have images of the 3 legendary dogs, legendary beasts, I guess legendary cats, depending on however you want to depict them or call them. At the top here, an image from Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker that depicts Tetra and Link, as well as Ganon in the back. Then there is Katakuri and Aokiji from One Piece as well. If you're watching the current arc of One Piece, Katakuri is the main enemy that is being fought currently. Then we have the hollow mask that Ichigo wears from Bleach, the Millennium Ring from Yu-Gi-Oh!, one of the 7 Millennium items, or I guess 8 now if you count the movie, but, and then something that you've seen in the corner of probably every video, a silk banner of the fairy tale symbol. Probably one of my favorite anime out there. And speaking of favorite anime, other anime that I've watched, there are quite a few. As you can see behind the figures here, But more importantly, there is a lot of anime that I am a fan of. And yes, I do buy a lot of it on DVD. So there is quite a few that are here. My top 5 favorites, I can narrow it down that much. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Fairy Tail, One Piece, No Game No Life, and Seven Deadly Sins. There are a lot of good anime series out there, but those 5 would probably be my favorites. I am a fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series as well, as, you know, so many others. Starting to get the Black Clover series as it's coming out on DVD. One Piece actually hasn't released any DVDs for a while, otherwise this would be larger. Fairy Tail, I've caught up with all of it, and just so you guys are aware, this is double stacked. You know, there's Bleach behind there. Been buying up the volumes of that. Then behind here is the Naruto series, and I have started buying up Shippuden as well, all the way to the Pain Fight. You know, Dragon Ball Z with Dragon Ball behind there. Going through Dragon Ball Super now as well, but waiting for that to drop in price. So yeah, needless to say, this is a collection that's been years in the making. And as if that wasn't enough, then there is also, well, here is actually the 3 leaders of the Pokemon Go teams, Candela, Blanche, and Spark, as well as Lelouch from Code Geass, because another amazing series if you haven't seen it. But then there's another bookshelf that has, you know, a whole bunch of anime on it as well. And this is double stacked on top of that. But this one has a lot of older anime, like the original Berserk in the collector's edition box, Raxophon, Neon Genesis Evangelion. You know, we've got Escaflown, Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, you know, Noir, Tenchi Muyo, all these original series that are up there. You know, even Fullmetal Panic, things like that. So yeah, I have quite an extensive collection that's been a decade in the making. So if there's any interest in seeing the extent of this collection, I could go through all of the anime that are in there. It'd be a bit of a lengthy video, so let me know. There's also more art that I have in my room that I could show, so if you guys want to see that, more figures I have as well. You know, best girl here, Jabril. Second best girl, Dark Magician Girl, though she's probably a tie for best girl as well. Great Fullbuster, which I do cosplay. Another Dark Magician Girl in the back. From No Game No Life as well, but No Game No Life Zero, the movie. Yeah, that would take a little bit of explaining. Tamamo no Mai from the Fate series as well. Spin on Arturia Pendragon from the Fate series. Assassin at the top, Madoka from Madoka Magica, Deku from Hero Academia, you know, a whole bunch of other ones. Monster Musume, another great anime. It's a harem, ecchi, fan service anime. A little bit of a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. You know, I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure, as I'm not guilty about watching that one. The characters are amazing, but, you know, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below if you guys want to see or know about any of these anime series. There are plenty that I could make videos about. Hopefully I'll have more time to do so in the future, but we'll see. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Sorry it was a little bit lengthy, as, well, there weren't as many questions as I thought there might be. There was only about a dozen or so, so I took a bit of liberty and took my time answering the questions. So in the future, I'll probably have to be a little bit shorter with each one, but, you know, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.